Rental scams have increased significantly in Canada, with people losing thousands of dollars. The goal of this video is to set you up for success when renting in Canada, especially as a newcomer, immigrant, or an international student. We will achieve this by covering when to start looking, where to rent, how to rent with roommates, how to get approved without a credit score in Canada, how to bring pets, what are the hidden costs, and your rights. And most interestingly, at the very end, the new rent-to-own policy that the Minister of Housing shared with me. First of all, when should you start house hunting? I recommend giving yourself at least 2 months for this process. There are 2 reasons for this. Well, frankly, Canada is pretty slow, and the more time you have, the better options you'll find. Let's say you're starting school in September. In this case, I recommend you start looking in June or July. If you are already in Canada and looking to change your place, winter is when prices drop the most. Now, the most important question. Where do you find safe rentals? And by safe, I mean rentals that aren't scams. Liv.rent is the safest rental platform in Canada. I'll leave you a link in the description below. They go the extra mile compared to other platforms, and you'll see why in a second. When you go on their website and search for your city in Canada, open the filters and turn on the verified listings toggle. A verified listing is a rental that has been manually checked by their team. That's the peach badge. The blue badge next to the landlord means that the ID of this person or company has been verified. Do you now see why I always recommend liv.rent? Let's imagine I'm moving to Toronto. I go through different options, check the prices, and I realize I'll need roommates. This is a standard practice for many people in Canada. You can get a few roommates to share the cost and apply together. Here's how you can do it. When you sign up and create your free profile, go to the extra info tab, then to roommate information and click on add roommate. After you fill out their information, you'll be able to apply together, increasing your chances while decreasing the cost. Let's say you found a great place and send a message to the landlord, which you can do by simply clicking here. They also have a built-in translator if you need it. If your potential landlord is concerned about your ability to pay, how do you overcome the fact that naturally you don't have a Canadian credit score? See, Canadians operate on trust, which often involves financial ability to pay. If I give you a loan, I need to know that I'll get that money back. For this purpose, we have something called credit score. It ranges from 0 to 900. The higher, the better. To build this credit score, you need to pay off your loans, credit cards, and other obligations in Canada on time. But what if you're new to Canada? Another reason to use liv.rent is that they've developed a system called Trust Score. It's very simple. To show landlords that you're reliable, go to your profile, select Trust Score, click on No Credit Score in Canada, then select Income Verification, and upload your proof of funds. Most of you know what I mean by proof of funds, as you had to submit this to IRCC when you applied to come to Canada. Proof of funds can include your bank statements and assets that show your financial standing. With this information, you'll have a trust score that landlords can rely on when assessing your application. Now let's talk pets. You may have a cat or a dog. For me personally, they mean everything. If I couldn't bring my furry friend with me to Canada, I'd rather not move to Canada at all. But the good news is Canada is a very pet-friendly country. The building where I live and most buildings I know of allow pets and dogs. Usually it costs a bit extra, for example, a one-time pet deposit fee or average rent prices going for $50 more per month compared to non-pet friendly listings. But how do you check if the building is pet friendly? Simply go to the filters, see how many filters they have, price, space type, many others. But we need this one, pets. You can select cats, dogs, or all pets and search through pet-friendly listings only. For all pet owners, you should apply together with your pet. Under your rental application, there is a section to add your pet. When you apply to listings, landlords will be able to see this right away. Now let's talk money. What you may not realize is renting in Canada is like a huge iceberg. The rent you see on the website is just the tip, but underneath, You have security deposits, first and last month's rent, move-in costs, and more. A security deposit is money given to a landlord as proof of intention to move in and care for the home. Security deposits can either be refundable or non-refundable, depending on the terms of the transaction. Usually, if you don't damage anything, you'll get all your money back after a move-out inspection at the end. First and last month's rent is exactly what it sounds like. You pay upfront to show you're serious. When you give your landlord notice that you're moving out, they won't charge you for the last months since you've already paid for it. However, as a renter in Canada, you have rights. To protect you, some provinces like Ontario or British Columbia do not allow for landlords to ask for this specific deposit. Move-in costs may include furniture, kitchen supplies, and other miscellaneous expenses, so be aware of that. A few important rights you need to remember as a renter in Canada include right to a safe and habitable home. Landlords must ensure the rental property meets health and safety standards. For example, you need to have a functional heating system and there should be no pests. Rent control. In some provinces, rent increases are regulated. For example, British Columbia caps increases every year. Eviction protection. Landlords must have valid reasons for eviction. For example, non-payment of rent or property sale. Rent eviction, something you may face or hear from friends, a practice of evicting a renter by using renovation as an excuse, is absolutely not allowed. I recommend researching this deeper if it ever happens to you. In my video with the Minister of Housing, we also discussed this. A pro tip from me is to get a temporary place when you come to Canada. This could be an Airbnb or rooms like this one that you can also find on liv.rent. This gives you time for open house viewings and to learn about the neighborhoods in town. Important, you can go for a 6-month contract, bringing you to the winter months when rental prices usually start to drop. This can help you reduce your rent. I'm glad you made it this far, as now I'll share the most important thing. Many immigrants dream of buying a home, but you may not have the money upfront. So you may rent for many years before you can save up enough money for that down payment and get a mortgage for a house or an apartment. But what if I told you that the rent you pay could count toward your future credit score to help you qualify to buy that dream home? Listen to what Canada's Minister of Housing told me about it.
First is trying to help people build credit if that's a stumbling block for them. It's not a problem for everybody, but for a lot of young people who don't necessarily have a history of different bills or loans that they've taken out, they do rent. And I think if you've been paying your bills on time, that should count for something.
Exactly.
So we're making changes, particularly around open banking and consumer-directed finance. It's going to make it easier for your rental history to count towards your credit so you can actually get a mortgage.
To take advantage of this new policy, you need to make sure you're doing these 3 things. First, find a rental on a safe platform like liv.rent. All your documents are safely secured on this platform. Make sure you sign a standard lease agreement, the ORA lease, and other standard leases across different provinces, integrated in liv.rent. So when the time comes, you can prove to the government that you've been renting all this time. Number 2, pay your rent on time. This is very similar to paying off your credit card on time. You get points and build a good credit score. And number 3, report your rent. Enroll in a rent reporting service or request that the landlord share your data each month. I'll be releasing more content about this later, so make sure you subscribe. My mission is to empower new Canadians like you through information and support systems like liv.rent, which you can check out by clicking on the link in the description to this video. If you found value in this video and you resonate with my mission, make sure to subscribe to this channel. I look forward to replying to all of your comments below and would appreciate a like for this video. Thank you so much for watching. And now I recommend you watch this video next about the best provinces for immigrants in Canada. See you there.